All right. So we are here for our, what is this, the third episode of the Spark podcast?
Yeah.
All right. So this week is going to be the start of a series. We did singular ones in the past. We did one-off podcasts.
Yep.
But now we're going to start a series of podcasts, and this is going to be our logo. It says The Spark, but it reminds me of a TV show.
Well, you could tell just by the drawing. It looks like a very familiar drawing.
Yeah.
The style there.
Well, I did that on Photoshop, so not on Photoshop, on PowerPoint.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know.
That's
Do you know what
pretty
TV show that is?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
It's a show. My daughter was listening to this podcast last night,
Yeah.
and they were talking about characters in the future.
Yeah.
And they were drawing these characters and trying to figure out and making up their own things of what could happen to these characters in the future. So one of them was a guy drew Tom from Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
And had him like how he is in the future, and that, you know, they talked about how he really cared a lot about Jerry. Tom and Jerry is a cat and the mouse, right?
Yeah.
That he really cared for him, even though those two beat each other up.
Yeah.
But the reason why he wanted to stay in there because he didn't really want to hurt him really bad, or eat him.
Mm-hmm.
They were really good buddies, but he thought that if he didn't do a good job of acting and beating each other up, that they might get another cat that would actually hurt Jerry all the way through.
Yeah.
Then the other one that they did was they drew Bart Simpson's daughter, who is
Bart Simpson's daughter?
sister.
Bart Simpson is 12.
Sister. Homer Simpson's daughter is...
There's two of them.
Yeah, not the baby.
Lisa.
They drew Lisa in the future.
Yeah.
And what happened, they had Lisa Simpson, she was older and she controlled the world because she's so smart. I mean, she's brilliant in the show.
Well, they have an episode, flash forward episode in the show where she's the president.
Yeah. So anyhow, she had where she had world dominance, and she was controlling the world, and because she was just, so brilliant. So seeing that, I mean, it really took me right directly to The Simpsons.
Yeah. Well, that's how I designed it. So I hope that
was a long answer.
Just to get to. This is The Simpsons. I have this book right here, which is The Gospel According to The Simpsons. I have two of these books. There's two of them.
Cool.
This is the second one. There's no necessary order to any of the lesson plans.
No.
So we might skip around in them.
Yeah.
But
so they pick an episode and then they talk about it.
Yeah. So for this one, this lesson we are going to be talking mainly about the Joy of Sect.
How can you spell sect for me?
SECT.
Thanks for clarifying that to the audience.
It's up there on screen too.
Oh, there you go.
So this is season 9, episode 14. If you want to go, it's on Disney Plus. So
okay.
B-Rack didn't actually know.
The Simpsons are on Disney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Disney owns Fox, and Fox.
I didn't see
makes
the
The
connection
Simpsons.
there.
Yeah. So this is the episode, The Joy of Sect, season 9, episode 14.
Uh-huh.
And if I grab my handy dandy guide here, the synopsis for the episode is that Homer lets Bart skip school to meet the football team at the airport after a championship game. They encounter several different groups from various spiritual movements and religions that are sort of not selling selling the idea of basically, if you've ever seen, people passing out pamphlets, or the Mormon church will come knock on your door.
Or they have a group that will put flowers and pin flowers onto you at the airport. And I'm not sure if they're allowed to do it now, but they used to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's how they introduce themselves to get you to try to, to join or be a part of their group.
Yeah. So essentially, it's just a bunch of different spiritual organizations that are advertising their spiritual movement at the airport. And one of them, which Homer is the most intrigued by, is the Movementarians.
Okay.
Who are offering a free retreat weekend at a resort in order to present their recruits with the beliefs that they support.
So right then in there, warning sign, okay, free.
Yeah.
There's a warning sign, free retreat, kind of like timeshare.
Yeah.
Win a free weekend.
Yeah.
Or win a car, and here's what you have to do. Just give us your name and information and put it in the little ballot slot.
Yeah, so basically they're offering this free retreat weekend so that they can present their beliefs to hopeful recruits. Homer and his family agree to attend the retreat, mainly because Homer wants free food and a free weekend.
Sure, you can see everyone in the picture. They're all...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is actually later in the episode where... So basically they go on this retreat. The recruits work hard on Homer until he finally is converted. So this is after he's cracked and is converted to this religious belief.
Yeah.
So he's converted, and the Simpsons become part of the Movementarians and move to an agricultural compound to live. So that's where this is.
So a lot of times they call these things communes, short for community.
Yeah.
But in particular for religious groups, they call them communes.
Communes.
Yeah.
Especially with cults, and so that's what this is.
Cults and sects.
About. This is dealing with cults and sects.
Yes.
So sects. I have to
SECTS.
I have to enunciate.
Yes. And a lot of times, when they take you to these places, these are isolated places where it's, and it's hard to kind of get away from those places. They're, it's in a dense area where it's hard to even physically get out, much less.
Well, this isn't a recommendation. This is just, I've watched Waco on Texas, or on Netflix.
You saw that? I saw it too.
The show, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is about the commune in Waco, Texas. And there's plenty of different cults you can see had different communes and different places where they would do stuff like this, and they would live apart from the world, shut off from most of the world. So anyway, so they move to this commune and this compound, and when the premise of the movement is finally exposed as false, the Simpsons return to their regular lives.
Sure.
So basically, you can see this guy up on the screen back there.
That's their fearless
on the
leader.
Truck. That is their fearless leader, who basically, the Movementarians are trying to take everyone with them to a planet called Blistonia, where they will achieve eternal bliss.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're going to Blistonia.
Yeah. So the leader is the one that's building a giant spaceship UFO to take them all to Blistonia.
I vaguely recall watching, not the entire part of it because I was flipping channels.
Yeah.
I did not see the entire episode, but I did see a section of that show. Have you seen the show?
I have seen every episode of the show. There's over 700 episodes.
So you're a Simpsonite.
I am the one.
Are you a Simpson aficionado though?
I like to think so.
Okay.
I'm
not.
I'm the one that, especially with the God's Wars series that we're doing for our sermons on Sunday, I'm the one that he comes to fact check his his sermons, and I'm the Star Wars fan, the Simpsons fan, the Harry Potter fan.
And I'm going to reveal something.
Yeah.
This is only for those that are listening to this podcast, is that you wanted to do all of the series and do the sermons for it.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I got to at least be able to try to alternate in those types of things.
I was like, come on. Like,
there's that is your baby. That's your area.
That is my...
Yeah.
So, but, so essentially that is the plot of the episode, is they go to this religious compound after a retreat weekend to join a cult that promises to take them to Blistonia.
Yes.
And that all turns out to be fake. And so then they return to their regular lives, as they do after every episode.
Yeah. Their regular, unregular life.
Regular, unregular life. So
and there we have it. That's
so
pretty much it.
This is going to tie into our scripture reading, if you want to read the scripture here.
Sure. This is from Psalm 44, verses 4 through 5. Those who put their trust in the Lord, who pay no attention to the proud or to those who follow lies, are truly happy. You, Lord, my God, you've done so many things. Your wonderful deeds and your plans for us, no one can compare with you. If I were to proclaim and talk about all of them, they would be too numerous to count.
Yeah. So,
how did you get this font, first of all?
It actually is a basic font that you can find.
It's not called the Simpson font.
It's not called. It's in Google Slides. I forget. I think it was called. I forget what it was called.
But it's very close. But it's not exact.
It's not exact, but it's very close to the Simpsons font. So I thought I would do
Simpsons font is a little bit sloppier.
Yeah.
And of course, when they do it, they have that shaky screen.
Yeah, the shaky. Yeah. So essentially, this scripture connects to the idea of false gods.
Yes.
And the Ten Commandments of false idols and. Yeah. So basically saying that this cult leader is a false god.
Yeah.
They thought of him as a god because he would be able to take them to Blistonia. But really he just wanted a following of people.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about cults?
Yeah. So right here we have the difference between a sect versus a cult. Mm-hmm. So a sect is a subgroup of a religious, political, or philosophical belief system, usually an offshoot of a larger group. Although the term was originally a classification for just religious separated groups, it can now refer to any organization that breaks away from a larger one to follow a different set of rules and principles.
So you think of the Protestant church.
Yeah. Protestants, Methodists, everyone basically broke off from the original churches.
Yes, and if you think of sects as sectionals, sections of the Protestant church, Methodism is a sectional part of the Protestant church.
So, but it is, like I said, it no longer only refers to religious groups. So now, the world's largest sect. Any guess?
The world's largest sect. I would think that it would be something with commercialism.
The United States.
Oh, okay, because we
broke off of a larger group, and then we grew and became the larger group.
I was thinking it would be more like Walmart.
Yeah, you would think no,
or Amazon, or
because by this terminology, the United States started out as a sect.
Yes.
Because we broke off from the original group.
Yeah.
Now that's a sect, but what is a cult? In modern English, a cult is a social group that is defined by its unusual religious, spiritual, or philosophical beliefs, or by its common interest in a particular personality or object.
See, a lot of times when you have cults, and you're talking about personality, when people lead cults,
yes,
it's because of their personality that people want to be attached to that cult.
Yeah. So we have, again, pointing back to the cult leader in The Simpsons, that he was a personality that they grew around and became,
The focus is on that person that's the leader.
Mm-hmm.
And the focus is not on God.
So if you, again, like I've said, not a recommendation to go watch Waco, because that, for some of our youth audience, that might not be a very appropriate thing to watch.
A lot of atrocities.
Yeah, very. And
it ended up in mass. It was
a few-day shootout.
Yeah, it was mass shooting. They took a stand, and they and they pretty much, from within the compound, they pretty much burned down the compound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, if you have watched it, the leader is, very charismatic, and when he talks, he seems to, know what he's talking about. And he even uses the Bible, but misinterprets the Bible.
Yes.
And rearranges the scripture.
He makes it his.
He makes it his Bible.
That he is the deity.
Yes.
That he is the God figure that they should follow.
Mm-hmm.
And he sets these rules.
Yeah.
For all of the people,
mm-hmm.
and for sections of families of which he considers himself the father figure
mm-hmm.
for the entire community.
Yeah. And when I was watching Waco, it brought up, almost felt like The Walking Dead, Negan's group, the Saviors in The Walking Dead. That's kind of what it felt like. It felt like this compound where, like, you had one leader who was, like, controlling all of them by being a charismatic
I can see that
a little bit.
I can see that.
But yeah, so back to that's what a cult is. So this is the picture that they show in the show of Blistonia. Where did I put my book? Right here. All right. So this is what they represented as Blistonia, which is their afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
So the movementarians promise the people that they will travel to Blistonia, and one of the recruits tells Homer, when you surrender yourself to the movementarians, you are guaranteed a perfect life of serenity and love, and loving serenity. Same thing, right?
Well,
serenity and love and loving serenity.
Yeah.
But then quickly adds, nothing guaranteed.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, come join us. You can get this. Small font. Nothing is guaranteed. We don't guarantee this. You know? So
there's always a bottom line there.
Yeah, there's always the little, the small text.
Yeah.
You gotta read the fine print.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that's, about our faith, is that God doesn't care about the fine print.
There is a guarantee.
There is a guarantee. It's a guarantee. There is no loophole. There is no nothing. It's just, know Jesus and you can be eternally saved.
Yes. Yes.
So
that's your ticket to heaven.
Yeah. So why this is a question posed to you, Val. Why do you think that people are attracted to these kinds of spiritual movements?
A lot of times, people are looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just part of human nature to look for something. And when you get these personalities, there are people that just have such great personalities that they're able to recruit others.
Oh, yeah.
And they could make people believe anything.
Oh,
and that happens in politics, without getting into politics.
Yeah.
Because there's both sides. There are charismatic leaders that can lead you, and they can say anything, and you could believe all of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see that question too as being that usually the people who join these cults have some sort of are going under some sort of financial, physical, or emotional distress.
Right.
Another
Go ahead.
representation of a cult film, not a real cult, whereas Waco is a real thing. If you've ever seen the movie Midsummer,
I haven't.
it is a horror movie.
Yeah.
And I just found it interesting. It was sort of the same. It was like a Swedish.
I know the premise of it.
Cult.
Yeah. I know the premise
and
of
the main character, she had her parents and her sister die before going on a trip to Sweden with her boyfriend's close friend, and so the whole friend group went on a trip to Sweden, and that is how the whole thing kicks off. So she is in this emotional distress, which most people who join these cults are.
They look for people who are most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And people who are looking for things that are most vulnerable, that they could easily convince.
Yeah. And so also in the episode, Homer faces what the movementarians refer to as the circle of judgment. So that's this up here. And they're saying, everyone's chanting, the circle of judgment never fails to destroy their self. Or sorry, they're not saying that, but that was something that one of the movementarians is saying, because like I said in the synopsis of the episode, they try to break Homer, and he sort of resists it at first.
Yeah.
But then he finally gives. So this was one of their attempts to break Homer, was the circle of judgment. It says it never fails to destroy their self-esteem. So they are trying to destroy his self-esteem, and then pick him up and say, "It's okay, we love you,"
Yeah.
And that's that's the thing is.
It's peer pressure.
It is. It's peer pressure.
You look at everyone looking at him, and it's a form of peer pressure.
Well, and in the episode, they go around the circle insulting him.
Mm-hmm. Break him down first.
And, saying, you're fat, you're this, you're that, you're whatever. Sure. And he's like, and the funny thing about this scene is he's like, yeah, no, I could probably work on that. Yeah, I think I could work on that.
Yeah, I know I'm fat.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I agree. I need to make changes, but it doesn't break his self-esteem.
Even in formal groups, to get you to turn over to whatever those beliefs are, you have to break a person down and kind of strip them down to build them back up again. Mm-hmm. Now, it can be good, it can be bad.
Yeah.
And if you look at a good side of that, is you look at the military. Mm-hmm. They break that person down so that you can become a good soldier.
Yeah.
So that's
one way of looking at things like that. But they're breaking him down and, destroying who he is as a person to mentally, take over him. And,
yes.
And they take over him and,
they convert
him.
Yeah.
So later in the episode, Lisa asks Homer, "Dad, do you think you might have been brainwashed?" What do you think she's talking about in that?
Well, it's again, we're talking about breaking the person down.
Yeah.
To build them back up. Brainwash is converting. It's conversion.
Yeah.
And convincing, and getting them at their most vulnerable point where you get to them. Mm-hmm. That's what brainwashing is.
Yeah. So one dangerous aspect of the alternative religious movements out there has been classified as mind control or brainwashing.
Yep.
And it's just a term for this process of breaking somebody down. Some groups use a combination of isolation, strict limitations in regard to behavior,
lack of sleep,
absolute control of information, literal restrictions on what members are allowed to think, and manipulation of members both physically and emotionally to create complete dependence on the community and its leader.
So they may not even feed you.
Yeah.
And they're controlling the entire situation. They'll keep you up. They'll drill things into you, and they'll just keep going at you and going at you and going at you, and they'll pretty much hold you hostage. Mm-hmm. They will keep you there for whatever it takes. It could be the entire weekend, or it could be even longer. Mm-hmm. They literally have you there, and you can't get out.
Good soldiers follow orders. That's a Star Wars reference to the new Disney Plus show. Bad Batch is a new animated Disney Plus show.
Okay, I haven't been there yet, but
no, you don't even have Disney Plus.
I don't. But I have been watching the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
And thank you for providing me with your DVDs as well.
Of course.
So that is, can I make a quick reference to that?
Yeah.
This is being, we're recording ahead of time, but when you see this podcast, the following Sunday, we are going to continue our Star Wars trilogy, and I will be talking about being rebellious for the Lord. So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because in life you will be challenged. You may be this is being challenged.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you are a believer in Christ and you end up, where a friend says, I'm going to take you somewhere for this, we're going to go away for the weekend, and then you end up being in this cult, you're going to be challenged, and you sometimes you just have to fight for the Lord.
I will say I have been in a situation that I thought might end up with me being in a cult.
Because I got a story too. And none of us has told this story to each other. So you start first.
Well, you know about the Emmaus community that meets here.
Oh, is that a cult?
It's not a cult, but
I've walked on.
You've
Emmaus.
walked. I've walked.
It's for those, they have chrysalis.
Yeah.
We
can't say much because.
Yeah.
Of,
you just say
it's great to have the surprise of it.
Yeah,
but
and it's a retreat type of thing.
And it almost felt exactly like this episode.
Someone asked you to join or to go to Emmaus?
I walked with Sierra.
I know you did.
Sierra and I went together because we both were kind of like, what are we getting ourselves in?
Yeah.
But it ended up being...
I got to tell you, it's not a cult. It's nothing like that. So, I'm going to summarize.
Yeah.
You need to go to a Emmaus retreat.
Yeah.
And if there's an opportunity for you to do that, you come and talk.
Either of us can help you get to be a part of the retreat. It is an awesome experience.
Chrysalis.
Yes.
Chrysalis too.
Chrysalis would be for these guys.
Yes, for the high school guys.
It's an awesome experience. Many of the church members here have been on a retreat.
Yeah.
Did Angie go, or were we still trying to get Angie to go?
We're trying to get Angie to go. Okay. We are.
I think Angie, Stephanie, and Brooke might go.
Oh.
I think they were contemplating it right before the pandemic hit.
They should all go together.
That's what I think they were going to do.
They need to go together.
So
that would make that one a special one for them.
Oh, I went with Sierra. It was awesome, incredible, just a wonderful experience.
Powerful.
Powerful. And then going back to help team on it.
Yeah.
Was awesome.
Milton
getting to present that, and I actually teamed on the weekend my sister walked.
I remember that.
So my sister
made it special for the whole family.
Fun fact: my parents met teaming.
Yes, I knew that story too.
Yeah, my parents met teaming on a weekend. My mom wasn't at the first team meeting, where they were planning everything, but she was late for the second one, and my dad picked up a chair and pulled out a chair for her.
And I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
Of your parents.
Oh yeah.
At that.
Yep.
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
And you would have not been here if not for your parents meeting at that.
Yeah.
Pretty
I think
cool.
my parents met Milton and Leah.
Milton, you all know Milton as one of the other worship leaders. That Brian and Milton are worship leaders, and Milton is pretty active with the high school. Yeah, the Chrysalis program.
Yeah, I think that's where
he does a lot of the worship.
Where Milton and Leah met.
Yes. So I've known Milton and Leah before they got married.
Yeah.
And Milton and I used to go on mission trips. Just really kind of neat to see him grow.
So anyway, if you want to get plugged into that or are interested, reach out to Valerie. We can help you get plugged in and signed up for the next weekend. It's an overall awesome experience.
Sure.
But yeah, so basically, they aren't gonna mind control you. They aren't. They really aren't. It really is just an awesome worshipful experience.
So you had a story.
What's your story? I'm interested.
My story was there was an actual cult when I was in college.
Yeah.
It was the Sun Young Moon movement. And they had these communes, and they would take you, and they would take these college students, and they'd bring you for the whole weekend. You know, they would say, and I had this guy I knew through the music and theater program over at Towson University. And so we got to be friends, and he said, Val, you just got to come on this weekend with me, just, and there's these friends I want you to meet. So under those premise, that's all he wanted to do. But then I found out later that it was part of this cult.
Yeah.
And if I had gone on there, that they would have subjected me to this brainwashing. And it turned out later that their methods were on the news and how they try to get you to join, but I was like that close where I was going to go, and my future wife Chris said, no, don't go, you're not going, and I didn't go. But the thing is, I am so as a friend, I'm pretty dedicated, but I'm also gullible though too. That if someone says, "Come, why don't you come on over and meet some other friends," and then
I will say you are very loving and kind and generous, especially with your time. We've pulled a few pranks in the office, so I will say you are quite gullible. But you did get me
gullible.
My first week here. I am
good at pranking back, though.
You did get me my first week here.
Yeah.
When I got into the office here, you set it up for like a week. A whole week ahead of time.
Well, don't forget that your dad is the ultimate prankster.
Yeah, you were in cahoots with my dad.
Yeah.
Like the whole week, Val was telling me,
I'm looking for this package.
He was like, I ordered this package of cables for us. It should be here. If you get it, let me know. You can go ahead and open it. It's just going to be cables to put in the youth room. I was like, all right, and you own a lot of cables.
I do.
You own a lot of cables.
I've got, So why would I order
that's
more
why
cables?
I was like, okay. Okay, all right. Maybe we have it in the budget. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. So then the package shows up on my desk, and it's there, and I haven't opened it yet. And and I haven't opened the package yet. And then I'm in here talking to my dad, and Val comes in and is like, hey, Nathan, could you open that box real quick? I have to go move my car.
Yeah.
Which was true. You did have to go move your car.
Yeah, I did.
But you really just said that so that my dad could watch me.
Yeah, because we were in it. We both had to witness this wonderful moment.
So you just went, I have to go move my car. Can you open that package? I noticed that came. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I went over, grabbed my little box knife, got ready to open the package, picked it up. And the bottom was hollowed out, and a bunch of ping pong balls fell out of the bottom of the box.
All over the place.
All over the youth room.
Tons and tons of ping pong balls. Yeah. It was a really good prank.
It was good. It was really good. I was like, I can't believe I fell for this. because I knew it was a thing. It's been a thing at the church for a while.
And you've seen it.
I've seen it take place.
Yeah. So it had to be set up just right for you.
Yeah,
if your
it was
dad
good.
had said that to you as a newcomer, you would have really thought that.
Yeah, I would have been like,
he's coming after you.
Whatever. You know, and I looked at the package. The package had your name on it too.
It did.
It had your name on it, so I was like, "All right, cool, this is it." So anyway,
we have fun here at church.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jesus warns his disciples that after he is gone, many will say, "I am the Messiah," and they will lead many astray. Jesus wants his followers to be extremely careful in regard to what they believe and whom they choose to follow. It is also clear that Jesus is warning them that other Christians may even try to manipulate them and undermine what they believe. He emphasizes that no matter what they experience in the world around them, they should continue to focus on his teaching and commandments until creation draws to an end.
So this is part, Nathan, of the Great Commission.
Yes.
That as
and we talked about this earlier at staff meeting.
Which part?
The Great Commission.
Okay. That we are led to spread the word.
Yeah.
And that's part of Jesus. But then, Jesus had commanded us to do. He commanded and told his disciples to go and spread the word.
Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere.
Yeah, to go tell the good news.
Yeah.
But then Jesus did warn that there are going to be false gods.
False prophets, false gods.
I should have jumped in with some harmony, but you took me by surprise there. If we had to retape this over, where I would have jumped in with some harmony, but oh well, I blew my opportunity.
It's all right. It's all right.
But Jesus had warned people.
Yeah. And that's that's basically what Jesus is saying in Matthew 24 verses 4 through 8 that we read.
And going back, that's part of God's wars.
That is part of God's wars.
That we're talking about.
Yeah.
And you even talked about Lucifer, about how Satan had turned against God.
Yeah.
And there will be false gods. He thought he was a God.
He thought he was better than God.
Yeah, he thought he was better. So you have to be able to, talking to you all of the youth out there, you have to really keep a wary eye, and you have to be on your toes.
Absolutely.
When people approach you, and be able to hang out and know the word and learn, from being a part of Christ Church, whether it be through your devotionals, watching our sermons. Hopefully we're all coming back together. We'll be part of our small groups, even social things that we have.
Or even just listening to this podcast is good too.
You are much stronger and can resist temptations or people trying to brainwash you or convince you of other things. The truth will always stay strong if you can be strong in the Lord and have your support group.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So basically at the end of the episode, the Simpsons, why is my mouse not clicking? There we go.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode, basically, the Simpsons break free from the movementarians because Marge sets up a clever demonstration in which she shows the children hover bikes that supposedly fly, and then she showed them that the flying bikes. This is a shot from E.T. by the way.
It's E.T. That's not from the Simpsons.
It's not from the Simpsons. It's a shot from E.T.
But it's a good visual.
Yeah, but she basically shows them that the bikes are an illusion created by suspending bikes in the air with fishing line, even though the children wanted so much to believe that the hover bikes were real. and could actually fly. In the end, they knew the bikes didn't actually fly. Homer and his family go through a similar process of realization when the spaceship that the leader of the movementarians has been keeping secreted and just away from in a barn proves to be an elaborate hoax. To a certain extent, the way they arrive at this conclusion reflects the advice that we find in the Bible about ignoring false prophets.
Proving that it was all
a
scheme of false. So this was a false god.
Yeah.
That was revealed to them and to everyone else in the commune.
Yeah.
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 I think if there's any lesson to be learned, is that it does take some willpower on your part, but it takes three main ingredients, and I will touch upon this in my sermon, but it takes you to have a wary eye.
Yeah.
To, again, like I said, be on your toes and to be careful with who your friends are. But then it takes your friends here at church or your community of other youth or the family of Christ Church. And lastly, it takes staying close to God, to be able to pray to God, to walk side by side with the Lord, to ask for the Holy Spirit to give you strength or to guide you.
Absolutely.
And to pray. That's part of having the Lord in this team, this super team where you can stay strong. That's you, your church family, and God. And then the first priority is God.
Absolutely.
Eyes on God.
So, yeah. So I think with that, we go into... So the book here has a suggestion that a great website for additional aspects of this discussion and, like, cults versus sects is www.religiousTolerance.org/cults.
Okay.
And I'll put the link to it.
And also put the link to the author and the title of the book.
If you guys want to go ahead and grab a book like this.
Off Amazon probably, right?
It was off Amazon. It was fairly cheap. I can't remember, I think.
You lucked out, though. Show them what's
on
the inside.
So I lucked out because I bought this book used off Amazon. I just bought a used copy because it was a little bit cheaper. It is signed by the author right here. So it is signed by the author. It says, "Dope," which is Homer's phrase.
Yeah,
"May the Bart
dope.
be with you. Thanks again for your support and friendship. Skip."
Wow, that was a gold mine.
that was so. It is signed by Samuel F. Skip Parvin, who wrote this alongside Mark I. Pinsky.
Very cool.
So yeah, so I think with that, it's a good time to go into closing prayer, and there's actually even a closing prayer presented to us in the book.
Why don't you read that? We'll close out with that.
All right.
Awesome.
I think that'd be great. All right, if you guys would bow your heads in prayer with me. God, our Creator, help us to be patient and tolerant when dealing with other people's spirituality. Rather than judging, help us to understand rather than rejecting. Help us to reach out. Help us to find ways to appreciate one another and come together. Help each person here watching this to discover your great love and grace as you reveal yourself to us. Amen.
Hey, that was fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We will catch you next time.
Yeah, and like I said, this is an ongoing series now. I think it's a great series to do. I absolutely, like I said, I love The Simpsons. I've watched all the episodes there are.
I have to tell you, I was a head choreographer for a USO tour, U.S. Army Soldier Show, and we had auditions because we did a little parody with these costumes that looked exactly like it was the Simpsons. And so we had auditioned for the voices of the Simpsons. And we had soldiers that auditioned for part of the show that did that. But anyhow, I should have kept those costumes. But
I dressed up as Bart Simpson for Halloween.
And your mom?
2 years ago.
Tell them about your mom.
What about my mom?
Didn't she dress up as...
She was Smurfette.
Oh, it was Smurfette.
Smurfette.
Wrong color, blue hair. Yeah. I was thinking Marge. She didn't. It was the Smurfette.
No, I dressed up as Bart Simpson for Halloween 2 years ago.
Very
I wore the like reddish orange shirt.
Yeah.
I wore, what does he wear? Like blue. Yeah, I wore blue jean shorts.
Wow.
I wore my Converse.
Yeah.
I have a pink skateboard. It's pink and green, just like the one from the show.
Yeah.
Except my board was pink and the wheels were green, but the show is the wheels are pink and the board is green.
Yeah.
But anyway, either way, it worked. And then I spiked my hair up with hair gel, and I walked around saying, "Eat my shorts."
I'll have to show you some video clips of that show that we did.
Yeah.
But I think we digress, and
I
need
think
to kind of sign out.
Yeah, we'll sign out here and join us next month for the next podcast where we will be diving into another episode of The Simpsons and the
You want to give them a little tease on that?
Yeah, so right now our next one would be the episode Faith Off, which is from season... Sorry, I can pull it up here. Where is it?
I don't know, but while you're doing that, we're going to talk a little bit about faith and faith healing, right?
Faith healing.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch it, it is season 11, episode 11 on. So if you want to go on, if you have Disney Plus, or if you have the DVD box set, I actually have some of the DVD box sets for The Simpsons. But,
of course you do.
if you have Disney Plus, feel free to go ahead and watch that episode before the next podcast so that we can dive into the spiritual healing connections that we find in that episode.
Sounds good. All right, guys.
All right.
We'll catch you all later. Thanks
See
a lot.
ya.